Welcome guys to multiple center slide. Again, we are going to use the radial wipe with some more keyframes to create this kind of transition. Notice here, you can change a lot in this transition so it fits your need. You can rotate it even more on going up and down instead of left and right, or even on the corners. So you can have a variety of transitions within your project. So let's start creating this transition. I of course created Mat 7 now, multiple center slide, put it on our test video, and we can double click and start creating the animation. As usual, I'm gonna use the rectangle tool, double click to create a full rectangle. For now, I can care less about the color. Let's go to FX and preset, and you have the radial wipe. If you search for radial, you will find a radial wipe here. Click and drag and drop it on the rectangle. Now we are going to animate first of all both. Okay, that's one. Second, we are going to change the start angle to 90 degrees to start with. So now if you scrub through, you notice it's opening just like this. Okay, so here it's 50%. Cool. So I will come to 20 frames here and keyframe the transition completion at 50%. And I will also keyframe the wipe center just in the center of the composition over here. If I click and drag, you can see the wipe center over here. I will undo this. Okay, so we have put these two keyframes. Now we come back to the beginning and we are going to take the wipe center to the left side. So it's enough to put a 0 on the x-axis. Here is the wipe center. And now we are going to take the transition completion to 100%. Okay, now notice what's happening here. It will open just like a simple arrow and it will stop. Pretty cool, right guys? Fine. So we're opening one half here, and then of course you know now we replicate the composition itself and we open the second half. That's one way to do it. Now if you're happy here, you can just slide it till the end. For example, if I come to this keyframe and take it to 1920, so now you have a slide coming from here and sliding just like this, and if you replicate the layers you will have a different transition. But for now, let's stop over here. Select all the keyframes here, press F9 and go to the graph of course, and do something very simple just like this. Okay, look at the animation, not bad, it settles nicely. That's one. Now we want to duplicate these layers. Of course, I press Ctrl D. If you are maybe have 5 layers here, is cool. And then we are going to sequence them, select all of them, press U to see the keyframes, and start by the bottom one. We leave it here, go 5 frames for example, another 5 frames, go up a bit, another 5 frames just here, and the last one at 20 frames. Okay, let's look at the animation here. It is cool enough. Fine, we don't see it because we have always the same color. So the top layer is gonna be white. It's the same, you know already about it. Then the second layer here, let's make it this one, you know, darker. So we go to the fill and we take it down. Okay, here you are. And then the below one, we click on the fill and we take it up just over here, for example. Here you are, we can see them now. And this one we are going to change and make it dark. Okay, and then the last one we are going to make it quite light. If you can see it, where is it? Yep, it's over here. We do like this. Cool. Let's see the animation now. We have one dark, one light, and it's pretty cool. And the last one is totally white. Here you are. Fine, let's go see it. Is it nice enough here? We press spacebar to play. Here you are. Not bad at all. It's coming up nicely. If you notice the color influence here, quite dark revealing, and here is not revealing, and the other one is revealing a bit more, and here you are. Cool. Let's go back, and now of course what you want to do, I'm sure you already guessed, is to pre-compose. I will turn them all up and then right click and pre-compose and call it Mat 7 side. We click OK. Let's go back to the same composition, and then we duplicate this one and we open any of them. We press R for rotation, and we rotate it at 180 degree. Now it's like magic, it's working from both sides. Pretty cool and pretty easy, by the way, guys. Let's go back to the main one, decide, okay, is this what we like? Let's press spacebar to see exactly what we have done. It's not bad at all, it's pretty beautiful. Here you are, it's a very nice animation. I hope you will use it. I would use this one if I had an action movie, for example, you know, things are coming together, or you are relating another battlefield, something like this, quite some energetic movies. I will use this transition. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next lecture. Let's create this transition together. The purpose here is to create this transition with you, that's very true, but also to show you how to use a simple effect, the transform effect, to create different versions of this transition with ease and simplicity. So let's start. Of course, I created Matte 8 now. I dropped it in the test video comp to test it, and it's absolutely empty, and we start from here. Of course, as you know me, I will start with the rectangle. Double click to create a full rectangle. We can care less about the color for now. In this case, we are going to use the scale for the layer, even if we are going to add a stroke later on. After 1 second, I want this layer to be in this position. I will keyframe the scale and come back to the beginning here and unchain the link and just scale it on the vertical or the x-axis. So I'll put it to 0. So I have a very simple animation, you know, the rectangle is just opening, not much. I will select the 2 keyframes, press F9, go to the graph editor and change it a bit the way you would like. You can make it speedy. Okay, something like this will be always nice in my opinion. Of course, you can work on it and make it much nicer. The next step will be to duplicate this layer. Let's say we make 5 of them or 4, any number you like. And I will select them all, press U and start timing them. So I will move them on the right 5 frames at a time. Now what I like to do is the last one to delay it a bit, you know, give it more importance if you like, and make it even a bit shorter. Here you are. Okay, and this last one should have the color, of course, you know, white to be the main reveal. Cool. Let's start changing the colors just over here. For example, we come to this layer, we click on the fill. Now you can start with a dark color, so dark, bright, okay. I'll start here dark, then even I'm gonna make it darker a bit. Let's go down a bit, okay. Then I'm gonna make the middle one light, okay. You can explore with other colors like the blue and so on. I will make it just over here. Then the one after, let's go to the fill and make it also darker, just like this. Cool. So you are alternating between the luminous, so you have 1, 2 and 3. Quite a nice animation. Let's go to the test video and now you play. It's not bad, it's cool. Let's see it in real time. It's pretty cool. Now the purpose here, of course, is to use an effect to create several versions of this animation, you know, rotating it, scaling it more or less, depending on what you want to create. Let's go to the matte itself, fine. And here, let's add a new adjustment layer, okay? So I will apply the effect on the adjustment layer, and all the layers beneath the adjustment layer will also be affected. The effect is transform. If you click and look for transform, you will find the transform effect over here, and it has been sped up, okay, and it's working on 32-bit color. That's not bad at all. Let's take it and drop it on the adjustment layer. So what can you do with the transform? Notice what's going to happen. If, for example, I rotate, all the layers beneath are going to rotate. This is almost equivalent to pre-composing and playing with the composition, but with this layer it's easier. For example, let's rotate it at 90 degrees. Okay, now it being a rotation, now let's come down a bit. Okay, if you come to the scale, you have a uniform scale. If you uncheck, you will have scale height and scale width. Let's change the scale height. Of course, we rotated it 90 degrees, so you are playing now with the scale height. You can make it smaller or bigger. Okay, this is because of the rotation. It makes sense. Now what happened, that you have created the same transition, but it's another version where it's going horizontal. Okay, the reveal is horizontal. Let's go to the main one and press space bar to play. Here you are. It's pretty cool. Okay, so let's say you want to play more games here. You can come to the adjustment layer here, come over and keyframe the rotation, for example. Go to a certain point, okay, and make it, I don't know, a full rotation, one full rotation. Here you are. So now you have all the layers rotating. Of course, now it's somehow a very dynamic transition. If you go back to your test video, you can test it. Here you are. It's pretty cool. Okay guys, so the concept here that you can create a transition, then add the adjustment layer and add the transform effect and start playing around to have multiple versions of your animation. If you're trying to sell your mats, this is something you should do. Give the customer these options. You don't have to cost him 80 mats. Tell him one and you get 5 of them, you know, on different angles or different speed, and he will be very happy. He'll buy from you again. Thank you very much for listening, guys. In the next lecture we will go for another mat. I'll see you then.